does anybody has a camera? Mr. Aran is here. I want to take a picture. He came to the meeting. He's over there. Raise your hand. No, not, he didn't take over the field. Okay, we're gonna do it this time. We're gonna do a recognition.
Yes, Mr. Ramirez, even though the meeting is not called to order, there's 3 employees that we want to recognize today. If y'all can join me at the front, I'm gonna let Mr. Zuniga share with you really what all the employees did for our students. Obviously, one saved somebody's life, one of our students' lives, and the other 2 attended to a student after graduation that was also kind of sick. But I'm gonna let Mr. Zuniga share with you, what our employees did for our students.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. Excuse me. Good afternoon, board members, members of the audience. Tonight, we'd like to recognize Ms. Rebecca Carvajal. Ms. Rebecca Carvajal has been working for the Transportation Department since 2009. On May 20th, 2015, Ms. Carvajal was carrying out her duties as a bus monitor on bus number 171 when she was required to perform the Heimlich maneuver on a Muller Elementary student who had a soft food item lodged in his throat. As a result of Ms. Carvajal's quick response, a more serious situation was avoided on that day. Please join me in viewing Ms. Carvajal's work performance on the screen behind you.
Con un final feliz, pero pudo haber tenido otro final un poco más trágico. Y es que un estudiante de la primaria Müller que viajaba en un autobús escolar este miércoles estuvo a punto de morir asfixiado.
Pero gracias a la asistencia de su hermanito y al asistente de un autobús escolar pudo salvarse. Parecía los vehículos y de la historia. Veamos.
Para los hermanitos Ornelas el miércoles pasado fue un día muy dramático. Recuerdan que por poco el pequeño Matthew casi se asfixia. Nos dice que estaba comiendo tajo. Y fue entonces cuando comenzó a tener problemas y ya no podía respirar. En este video del autobús escolar se ve como el niño estudiante de 3er grado empieza a pedir ayuda a su hermanito Jacob. Jacob dice que tenía mucho miedo y que él solo quería ayudar a su hermanito. Fue entonces cuando llamaron a la asistente del chofer, la señora Rebecca Carvajal, quien en ese momento pasaba lista a los estudiantes.
Matthew se está ahogando. Yo le digo al chofer, oríllate por favor. Voy encargada a verlo. Y sí, su cara de expresión, me decía todo. No me podía hablar porque no podía hablar.
De inmediato asistió a Matthew, brindándole los primeros auxilios.
Es algo que debe de ser rápido, porque son segundos importantes.
La familia Ornelas agradece infinitamente la ayuda de Carvajal. Y ella dice que está feliz de ver contento al niño.
Yo siento que hice mi trabajo, ¿verdad? Y que pude, poner en práctica lo que nos han enseñado en los entrenamientos que nos da el distrito escolar, ¿verdad? Para cuidar a nuestros niños.
Matthew hoy le dedicó estas palabras llenas de amor a Rebecca Carvajal.
Gracias por salvarme.
Esta experiencia tuvo un final feliz y dicen los ha unido para siempre. Marisa Rodríguez Limón, Noticias, Univisión Laredo.
Next, we'd like to recognize two employees of our Maintenance and Operations Department, Mr. Raul Gomez and Mr. Rosendo Valdez. During our recent graduation ceremonies, one of our graduates collapsed and was in serious distress. These two gentlemen assisted the graduate by placing her on a stretcher and moving her to a less stressful environment. They provided food and beverage when it was determined the student had not eaten in some time. She recovered and was able to drive home after the ceremony. These employees did a fine job and should be congratulated. Job well done, gentlemen.
What a great example from these people in regard to the education that they are provided, the training, and they make it useful. So try to remember all that and pass it on and always stay alert. They always, Mr. Chapa always have a presentation of safety, no accidents, and so in different departments. So that is, it shows there that actually the employees, they're always there to help the needy. So let's give another applause to both of the for your performance and job. Thank you very much. Let's go back to business. And I said again, good evening, board members and Mr. Santos and this staff. The time is 6:23 p.m. on this, the 20th day of July, 2015, and I call this meeting of the United Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Mr. Rodriguez, could you please go with roll?
Carlos Molina. Present.
Alberto Ramirez. Present.
Ramiro Vélez III. Present. Carlos Rodriguez. Present.
Thank you, sir.
Members of the board, Mr. Montemayor is in the hospital, which is why he could not be here today. So.
Thank you, sir. You took the words out of me. Yeah, don't forget just to give everyone needs a little support when you're ill, when you have a problem. So give a little prayer to Montemayor. Thank God that it's not something of a traffic situation, but it's something that it could happen. So let's remember him on our prayers. Now let's go back. Would everyone please rise and pledge allegiance to the flag? Take the page in a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one nation under God, one indivisible.
Is this meeting? Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act. Agenda item 3, board announcements.
If I may, I'd like to wish happy birthday this coming week to Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Vélez. And I'd like to wish good health to Mr. to Javi, and for him to come back soon so he can take care of us. Thank you.
The same for Mr. Montalvo, wishing a full and a speedy recovery for him as well.
Rodriguez.
I echo Mr. Benny's words. I also want to commend our staff for performing and going out of the way. I think all of that training that UISD has for our employees, I think it shows and it speaks for itself. Besides these people, I think there's other people there, administrators, custodians, food service, transportation, and every department in United. I think it's very recommendable for them to get this training. I think it's helped out and it's proven itself. As we can see, we've made news, and we saw two excellent men perform also some CPR to help out a student. That's what we're there for our children, to help out. So I commend every employee from United. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I already mentioned about Mr. Montemayor and the employees. At the same time, I want to wish everyone a real happy and safe summer. Even though we started back then, but still got some more days before school starts. But even though work, it doesn't end for some of the employees of United. So thank you for your work and thank you for everything you do for the school district. Public comments?
No public comments, sir.
No public comments? Recognitions, we already attended. A and B is already taken care of in emergency status. Now item number 6, at this time we move on to the consent agenda items. Is there a motion to the consent agenda items as listed?
Mr. President, we met for the Business and Instructional Committee meeting, and I make a motion to approve item A through F.
It's M only.
F, A to N?
To F.
N.
M.
M, I'm sorry.
Right, N. Okay. Is there a second? Second? Okay, for those in favor? Motion passes. Item 7A, approval of board minutes for the months of May, June 2015. Is there a motion regarding the approval of board minutes for the months of May and June 2015 as presented?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. Item 7B, approval of the 2015-2016 Student Code of Conduct.
The Student Code of Conduct had been deliberated last week. Legal had not had a chance to do the legislative update. We already did the legislative update. Two significant things that we put in there is now you're going to have at each campus what they call a campus behavior coordinator. And of course, we're going to go over this with all the administrators next week. But each campus is, and the purpose of this campus behavior coordinator is to primarily be responsible for maintaining student discipline at each campus. This is catching a little bit of people off guard because of the fact that, as you might imagine, a high school as big as United High School, we have one principal and several assistant principals to sign off on referrals to DAP, expulsion, so on and so forth. This law now says that we have to have one campus coordinator per school campus. And of course, we're going to be working with Ms. Perez and Mr. Canales on the implementation of this, and next week we'll explain it a little bit more in detail, but all of these changes are already in your student code of conduct. The other significant thing that is also in the student code of conduct is with respect to carrying of weapons. As you know, sometimes a kid that may go out ranching, hunting over the weekend leaves a weapon in his or her vehicle, and as a result, that's a mandatory expulsion under the law. What will happen now is that the school district will still be able to take disciplinary action, but we would have to prove that there is an intent by the student to possess that gun in that vehicle. Much different, probably higher standard for school administration. But again, we're going to be working with the campus administrators, the central office administrators on giving them this update along with a lot more updates that came by with the legislative session, but it is recommended that the board approve the 2015-16 Student Code of Conduct.
So we do make a move?
Excuse me?
We do make a move?
Right, you would have to
Right.
approve it if you would.
Is there a motion regarding this 2015 Student Code of Conduct? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. Item 7C, approval for the Board of Trustees to vote on the 2015 proposed tax rate that will be published in the notice for the public hearing. Is there a motion regarding the approval for the Board of Trustees to vote on the 2015 proposed tax rate that will be published in the notice for the public hearing?
So move. I'll move to approve.
Is there any?
Yes, if you don't mind, I'd like to read this out to make sure it's public. Administration is proposing that the Board of Trustees approve the proposed rate for 2015 of $1.04 for maintenance and operation and debt service rate of .19486 for a total proposed rate of $1.234860 to be published in the Laredo Morning Times on Sunday, August the 9th.
Okay. Is there a motion? Second? Okay, that's right. Okay. All those in favor? Motion passed. Sorry. Item 7D, consideration of the Board of Trustees to decide on the public hearing, meeting date, time, and place to discuss the 2015-2016 budget and proposed 2015 tax rate. Is there a motion regarding consideration of the Board of Trustees to decide on the public hearing, meeting date, time, and place to discuss the 2015-2016 budget and proposed 2015 tax rate?
So move.
Second?
Go ahead.
If I may read this as well. Again, staff is recommending that the following statement be approved by the Board of Trustees. The United Independent School District will hold a public meeting at 6 p.m. Wednesday, August 19, 2015 at the Bill Johnson Student Activity Complex at 5208 Santa Claudia, Laredo, Texas. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss the school district's budget and the proposed tax rate. Public participation in the discussion is invited.
Is there any discussion? Motion passes. All those in favor? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zuniga. Agenda item 8, closed session. The time is now 6:33, and the board will be adjourned into closed session pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.074, and 551.076 of the Texas Government Code to discuss agenda items 8AC. We will be back in about an hour. Santos told you, stay quiet.
Yes.
Was there anything else to be added? Item number 9, reconvene for closed sessions. The time is now 7:47, and the board will take appropriate action on items, if necessary, as discussed in closed session. A, appointment of principal for Clark Elementary School.
Yes, Mr. Ramirez, members of the board, my recommendation for principal for Clark Elementary is Gabriela Perez.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve.
there's a motion, I'm saying, thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? The only discussion is that we give the blessings by Mr. Santos for any principal, which is a big responsibility that takes to render the proper education and bring in the tools that is given by the educational out of Texas, Austin. So with that, really, it is well recommended. All those in favor? Motion passes. B, action reference.
Yes, Mr. Vice President, I move to approve the superintendent's evaluation as discussed in closed session.
Second. Is there a second? Any discussion? Mr. Cruz?
No, that's fine.
All those in favor? Motion passes. C, approval of modification to superintendent's employment contract. Is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I move to approve the superintendent's contract extension through June 30th of 2018 and other modifications as presented in closed session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes.
Mr. Ramirez, I'd like to briefly address the board. We don't thank the board for the support. Number one, on the evaluation, I think the people that are here at the auditorium really had a major part in the success that United has had throughout the years. And on my contract, again, I want to thank you for the support and the trust. And again, I go back that we're only as strong as the people we have here today at the auditorium. But I think our teachers, our paras, and our early employees make what United is all about. And I want to thank them for their support. I want to thank you for my support. Thank you.
Well, welcome. As I mentioned, in regard to the principals that is being selected and appointed for the superintendent, it's also the same thing that I wish the best on taking the reins of the principal as a superintendent. As always, you have been a great leader, and you have all the staff that supports the things that you do, and at the same time, the board approves in regard to that and has faith on you. Thank you. Okay. Number E, action regarding first and final reading of FFH local, the student welfare, freedom from discrimination, harassment, and retaliation.
Members of the board, the recommendation is to approve FFH local, and the relevant changes is that the district does take a firm stance to prohibit any kind of harassment, based on race, color, religion, gender, national origin, and the new language is sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, whether it's carried out either physically or through via electronic means. So if approved by the school board, this will take effect immediately.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion, discussion, excuse me, second, and any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. Agenda item 10. Adjournment. Any motion? Second?